What if I told you that some of your favorite movie stars have had hot, steamy affairs that they've tried to keep a secret for the longest time? From succumbing to sheer lust during work trips to falling in love 30,000 feet above sea level. But none of them was prepared for the consequences of their actions. Scott Eastwood, away from father's shadow. Back in the 80s, when Clint Eastwood was riding high on his wave of fame in Hollywood, something was brewing beneath the surface that not many knew about. Sure, everybody knew Clint, the big shot actor, but what they didn't know was that he had a secret that would change his life forever. While he was married to Maggie Johnson, Clint crossed paths with a flight attendant named Jacelyn Reeves. Now, Jacelyn wasn't just any ordinary woman. She had a spark, a presence that caught Clint's eye, and soon they got into an affair. But this affair wasn't just a passing fling. It led to something much more profound, a son named Scott Eastwood, born in 1986. It was said that the pair had a daughter after Scott and named her Catherine. Although he was already famous at the time and knew how the news about his affair would tarnish his image, he didn't shy away from their responsibilities. Clint stepped up and took care of his children. He didn't just vanish into the shadows. He made sure Scott knew he was there, a constant presence in his life. Growing up, Scott was immersed in his father's world. He spent his days on Clint's ranch up in Northern California, soaking in the sights and sounds of the movie sets where his dad worked his magic. It was there, amidst the hustle and bustle of Hollywood, that Scott found his calling. Although it was difficult for him to grow his career, he remained relentless and held on to some career lessons that his father taught him. Scott wasn't content to ride on his father's coattails. No, he wanted to carve out his own path, make his own mark in the industry. So, he took on auditions under his mother's last name, Reeves, determined to prove himself on his own merits. He waited tables by night, chased auditions by day, all in pursuit of his dream. After several years of hard work and dedication to his craft, he was able to work his way to the top and has earned roles in blockbuster hits like Fury and The Longest Ride. He has made it clear that he isn't just Clint Eastwood's son. He is Scott Eastwood, a star in his own right. Joseph Bina, the housekeeper's son. When Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife began to notice the resemblance between the housekeeper's son and her husband, she knew that something was not right. She thought she could ignore what she was seeing, hoping that her husband was not cheating. But the truth would later confirm her greatest fear. Arnold was seemingly living the American dream with his wife, Maria, by his side. But beneath the surface of their picture-perfect life lurked a truth that would shake the very foundations of their marriage. You see, Arnold had a little secret tucked away in the corners of his mansion. A secret by the name of Bina, their housekeeper. While Maria was expecting their fourth child, little did she know that Arnold was also expecting a child with Bina. Bina, who was married herself, kept her lips sealed about the true identity of the father. She even went as far as putting her husband's name on the birth certificate. Years passed, and Arnold claimed he had no clue about his secret son until the boy turned 8. But as the child grew, so did the resemblance between him and Arnold. It was like looking at her husband's picture for Maria, who couldn't shake off the feeling that something wasn't right. It was during a couple's counseling session that she confronted Arnold about Joseph, the love child he had with Bina. Arnold, caught between a rock and a hard place, couldn't hide the truth any longer. He confessed, knowing that his marriage was on the line. Maria's heart shattered into a million pieces, and she couldn't bear to look at the man she once called her husband. This led to the end of their 2-decade-long marriage. Ronan Farrow, the paternity debate. Imagine growing up believing that the man you called dad may not be your biological father. Everywhere you turn, people point out the uncanny similarities between you and a certain famous singer, a singer who's your mom's ex-husband. Well, that's been Ronan's reality for most of his life. The question of his paternity has lingered like a shadow, despite his certainty about Woody Allen being his father. Ronan Farrow, who is now in his 30s, has carved out his own path in journalism, notably for his investigative reporting on the Harvey Weinstein scandal, which made waves in the media. But despite his career milestones, he has not been able to shake off the rumors about his paternity. Even his own mother believes that there is a possibility that he is Sinatra's son. Let's rewind a bit to see how it all started. When Mia Farrow was younger, She met Sinatra on a movie set in the 60s. She was just 19, and Sinatra, in his 50s, swept her off her feet. They tied the knot in Las Vegas in '66, despite the raised eyebrows about their 31-year age gap. Although they seemed madly in love at first, things didn't work out, and they ended up going their separate ways in 1968, though they remained close. Fast forward to more recent years, following the rumors about Ronan's father, Mia said something that fueled people's suspicions. In a Vanity Fair interview in 2013, she hinted that she and Sinatra never really split up, leaving room for speculation about a lingering affair. She claimed that Ronan could possibly be Sinatra's son. But what about Woody Allen? He came into Mia's life after Sinatra, and together they raised a big family. Ronan was one of their children. Ronan has made it clear that he doesn't subscribe to the rumors. He knows without a shadow of doubt that Woody Allen is his father. In an interview, he said, "Woody Allen, legally, ethically, and personally was absolutely a father in our family." Despite the persistent rumors, Ronan has chosen not to take any DNA test to confirm if the legendary singer is truly his father. So, where does the truth lie? Is Ronan truly Sinatra's son, or is it just a case of an uncanny resemblance sparking gossip? Jonathan Berkeley, the rejected love child. Once upon a time, Tom Jones was just a young boy who dreamt of becoming a famous musician. But when that dream finally came true, he found himself doing things that many considered questionable. Some say fame got to his head, and before he knew it, one of his numerous affairs led to the birth of a love child. This singer, who is now a judge on The Voice UK, has a rather interesting life story, one that includes him denying his love child. But let's go back to the very beginning. Before he got famous, Tom married Linda Trenchard, his high school sweetheart in the 1950s, and it was clear that they were really in love. But soon enough their love story turned sour when Tom got caught up in the fame game, and rumors started flying about him seeing other women. Other men would defend themselves in the face of their infidelity, but Tom did something else. He admitted to having affairs with over 250 women in just 1 year. Some of these women were famous too. One of them was Catherine Berkeley, a model he met while touring in the United States. However, their affair didn't end like the others. She ended up getting pregnant for Tom, who was still married at the time. Immediately she informed Tom about it. He denied it, claiming that he was not the father of the child. Catherine was heartbroken, and she knew without a shadow of doubt that Tom Jones was the father of her child, so she decided to take him to court. After a long legal battle, a DNA test in 1989 proved that Tom was indeed the father. The court ordered the singer to pay a sum of $3,000 every month for child support. Interestingly, even after the test, Tom kept denying it for years. It wasn't until 2008 that he finally admitted he was Jonathan Berkeley's dad. He blamed Catherine, saying she tricked him into the affair. He said, "It wasn't something I had planned. I was tricked, really. I just fell for it. I just fell for the seduction." Ruth Clapton, caught in a forbidden love story. Bet you know the guitar virtuoso, Eric Clapton. But did you know that he fell in love with his best friend's wife? Got her to marry him and fathered a love child while he was married to her? Let's take a step back. Eric and George Harrison, the legendary Beatle, became close in the 1960s, and they were practically inseparable. They shared a bond deeper than music, spending hours crafting songs and living life as rock and roll royalty. But beneath the surface of their friendship lurked a forbidden desire that would change everything. Eric, smitten by a love he couldn't deny, found himself falling for none other than George's wife, Pattie Boyd. Despite the risks, he wore his heart on his sleeve, longing to be with her. In a surprising turn of events, Pattie divorced George and married Eric, believing perhaps that their love will go smoothly. Sadly, it didn't turn out the way she expected. For Eric, the demons of alcohol addiction and infidelity soon reared their ugly heads, and before he knew it, he became a stranger to himself and to the woman he claimed to adore. Despite their hopes for a house full of kids, their dreams were shattered by multiple miscarriages. As they were struggling with several marital issues, Eric found himself entangled in an affair that would have far-reaching consequences. It was during the recording of his album, Behind the Sun, that he crossed paths with Yvonne Kelly, igniting a passionate romance that resulted in the birth of their daughter, Ruth, in 1985. But this was not the only love child he had. He later got into an affair with the Italian model named Lori Del Santo, which led to the birth of another child, Connor. Patty, devastated by the revelation, found herself torn between love and betrayal, grappling with the pain of a shattered trust. In a later interview, she expressed how devastated she was. She said that Eric expected her to be happy for him, forgetting that she was his wife and not just his best friend.